Well, this week we once again are joined by the publisher of HuskerOnline.com, Sean Callahan, as we take a look at Husker football. Sean, you made the trip to Madison last week. It was another loss for the Huskers, but it kind of seemed like there was a few more positives coming out of that game.
Yeah, I think if anything, we saw a big picture of what this can be and maybe will be someday with Adrian Martinez and Maurice Washington and just the genius of maybe Scott Frost's offensive system that we've heard so much about. We saw glimpses against Purdue, and I think we saw a lot of it on Saturday against what you would call an elite level Big Ten program. The problem is Nebraska still is very thin on defense, especially the front seven, and they don't necessarily have a Big Ten level offensive line right now. So there's still a lot of things about this team that need fixing, but we got a glimpse of some of the future and maybe what this can be someday.
You and I talked before the season, and we thought if this defense was going to be successful, they'd have to do a couple of things. One, they'd have to rush the passer, and two, they'd have to force some turnovers. And unfortunately, the last several weeks, that really hasn't happened.
Yeah, we saw one fumble forced late in that game when it was kind of meaningless. But that interception that you need at a clutch time, that tip ball that leads to an interception, but the forced fumbles are way down, and that's been an issue with Nebraska for the last few years. We just haven't seen players that are athletic enough or maybe smart enough on the field in situations to punch footballs out of ball carriers to create opportunities for your offense. I think Nebraska's had their backs up against the wall so many times, Jason, on defense that you're just trying to survive versus even thinking about getting turnovers. And, Wisconsin just kept chipping away. Eventually, then Nebraska was not able to withstand and hold up.
How about the development of Adrian Martinez? Of course, he played well against Colorado, then he was hurt. He's really bounced back, and it looks like the last couple of weeks he's really taken some gigantic steps forward.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, when you look at him just being 18 years old still, doing what he's doing, a lot of the Wisconsin fans and media are like, man, we're not looking forward to seeing this guy for 4 years. Everybody knows how much talent Adrian Martinez has, how much ability he has. And I think the thing that stands out to me is his patience, his ability to sit back there and wait, which sometimes that leads to these holding calls or maybe blocks in the back that we've seen at times with Nebraska's offensive line, because Martinez is so patient sitting back there trying to wait. He still has those freshman moments, though. He needs to throw the ball way better. He needs to throw to his checkdowns more, but he's got a lot of potential in this offense.
A couple more prominent guys left the program last week. You think we're through all this? I know they wouldn't be able to get that year back, but how surprised are you that this new rule has been used the way it has been?
Yeah, it's pretty much over now. I mean, I think there were some questions about Lamar Jackson. Well, those got answered right away. He played in the game Saturday. He's played his 5 games now, so you don't have to worry about Lamar. And he got plenty of snaps after being benched the week before against Purdue. But the Tyjon Lindsey, Greg Bell situation, it was unfortunate. It's just what's bad right now with college football, having guys pull out when things aren't going their way. And that used to not be how college football was. Guys had to learn how to persevere and fight through hard times and become a man through those situations and learning experience. Now you're giving these guys an opportunity to pull out and move on and try to find the next best situation. And it's a microcosm of our sports world today, all the way down to the youth level. Kids bounce around from select teams in high schools trying to find the clearest path of resistance to get what they want. And that's what's happened with these two guys here. And the one thing I'll say that was interesting is Tyjon Lindsey's going to Oregon State. On the transfer for release for Greg Bell, Oregon State was blocked as an option for him. Now, he was never a Mike Riley recruit or part of that staff, but clearly there was something to that, why they were the only school blocked that is not on a future Nebraska schedule over the next 3 years.
Well, how about this week's game? Nebraska at Northwestern. These two programs, since Nebraska joined the Big Ten, they've certainly had some great games. What should we look for in this one?
Yeah, it's really been a neutral site home game for Nebraska. We've seen 20 to 30,000 Nebraska fans every time we've been out there. I expect to see the same Saw a lot of fans in Madison. Wisconsin or Northwestern's had a lot of adversity. Their star running back Jeremy Larkin retired medically from football, so they've changed what they've had to do. But they got a huge win last week at Michigan State. They hardly even had to run the football; it was all through the air. But one thing we know about this series: expect the unexpected. The home team has only won one time in the Nebraska Northwestern series, and that was on the Jordan Westerkamp Hail Mary catch in Lincoln.
Well, we'll see how it shakes out this weekend. Sean, you have a great trip, and thanks a lot for the time.
All right, Jason, thank you.
And that was Sean Callahan, the publisher of HuskerOnline.com. I'm Jason Jorgensen.